Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Ah! Look at the Nishmas Mordechai. The ah at night is louder than the ah in the morning. I'm not going to give it away, but it's not so morning right now. But this is a shir for the morning. We are in Bet Shemesh on the way to Poland, to Kivrei Tzadikim, for our Kar Satoiv trip. So, Yishkoyach, a very nice oilam came out tonight. Yishkoyach. We have at least, we have 1.5 guests at least. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Pinchas Feldman. From? Shleima Kodesh. You know, you're in the official Hasidic seat. You know that. The Hasidim, they come as they behalten sich, they go on that side, Dafka, and many guests, Hasidic guests that sit in that seat. It draws Hasidim in that seat. Shkoyach for coming. What, you heard that we're doing this year tonight? And you said, in the morning you can't come. Very nice, very nice. Huh? You told me exactly that. Beautiful. Shkoyach. Good morning. Just finished learning Daf Ayin Hey with Rebelli. For your information, we live at side of tower in Yerushalayim, and the penthouse is still for sale. LOL. The views are still incredible, but now there are many more skyscrapers than there were 8 years ago. Have a safe and meaningful trip to Poland. I'll be tuning in. All the best. Rosie Jaffe from Yerushalayim and Bell Harbor, Florida. Our boy said, here it is. So if anybody buys it because of the shear, we want a cut, and I want a few shabbosim there. It's gewaldig for the whole shear. 18 million. I could have made $8 million had I bought it back then. It's gorgeous. Wow. Now it's done, Taka, or this is what it could look when it's done? Back then it wasn't done. But you literally, here, you can see the Gesher Meitarim in that picture. You see over the couch. You see that thing? You're hovering over it. It's like you're looking down. Okay. So, our Hebrew editor, his name is Kobe Goldschmidt. His uncle came by last night, and his uncle, I didn't realize at the time, he was Mechaber all these Sfarim. Did I say this morning? Yes. This is for the Hebrew one. Sorry. Next. What's this? Oh. So he says, Shapsikon says, they are not actually my Talmidim, but they are. We're talking about a shir that's going on for 16 years. They already were Messiah Shas twice. They had a problem. Every time there was a chasana, one of the people from the community, they try to find, to say the shir at a different time, and it didn't always work out. So they said, if I could give a shir at my son's chasana, they could try a little harder. So therefore, in the last half a year, every time there's a community simcha, after the first course, when everybody's waiting around for the chasana and kala, everybody gets together and they do the shir. So, kol haschiyot shmurot liraveli, it says over here. Oh, this is a hard one for me. Dear Belly, this is Daniel Kahana from Miami. How do you pronounce Kahan? I must have written to you more than a dozen emails in the past. I was in Israel for just a few days visiting my uncle and came from Haifa on Friday to attend the shir for the first time. I left Haifa before 5 a.m., having arrived in Israel just the day before, which is tremendous. He's jet lagged and everything, and he drove from 5 a.m. I tried to talk to you afterwards, but it was hard to compete with the other guests, a captain in the army and a private jet pilot. I didn't feel comfortable being any more pushy than I really was. At one point, I thought you were heading to talk to me. And then I realized that I was literally just in the way. You're trying to get to your seat in order to daven. A little embarrassing, I must admit. One thing I realized while at MDY is how difficult all this must be for you. So much pressure day in, day out. Always having to be on top of your game. So many people annoying you. Not true. They don't annoy. It's geschmack when you come. There's not that much pressure. You're exaggerating. Chaval. It hurts me. I see that there's a little bit of a hard feeling over here. Even though he says there isn't, it probably is, but I feel bad. I feel bad that I didn't get to schmooze with this guy. Asking for your time or expecting to be remembered. Oh, that part is a problem. They expect to be remembered, and my memory is not that good. I'm headed back to Miami now, and therefore wanted to give you a double thank you for everything you do. Thank you, be'emet. One thing I did get to do while at the second MDY meeting was to keep you in mind during Birkas Kahanim. I remember him. I think he stood right over here. May things And I don't think there's another kain. I think he's the only kain that day. My things, blessing also increase exponentially. May Hashem continue to bless you and keep you, shine His countenance. Why all these hard words? Grace towards you, turn His towards you, and grant you peace. Shkoyach. I also just want to thank Hil Kamiansky, Yuda David, Dov Feinberg, and Benny the Butcher for helping me feel at home. Sincerely, Daniel. Below are lyrics from the show that came to mind after my experience observations. This could go both ways. Feel like the world don't love you. They only want to push you away. Some days people don't see you. You feel like you're in the way. I hope you... Mechila, I hope you're Michoel me. Wow, this is terrible. Today you feel as everyone hates, pointing their fingers, looking at your mistakes. You do good, they want great. No matter what you give, they still want to take. Wow. Wow. All right, Daniel, you got to come back. We got to make this up for you. Okay, one of the longest emails of all time, so I'm not going to read it right now. Here, it's 3 pages long. You guys could read it by yourself. Basically, what he's saying is he's about tshuva. He never learned Gemara, and he couldn't afford Sfarim. And then he saw an ad for MDY free Gemara. He jumped on it, and it's mamish, life-changing. He goes on and on and on to say that every single person is gift, a whole long Torah, and we want Mashiach now, deepest of love and appreciation. Mordechai, Orange County, New York, 20 minutes north of Kiryas Yoel. That's the best he can do. It's like 4 hours away from New York City, 20 minutes away from Kiryas Yoel. The Chayalim of the month, sponsored by Binyomin Rosenfeld, Vatzlach business. The Masech of the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. We have a shorter daf today. Paras HaChodesh Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe Nishmas Chayalim bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh Binyomin Rosenfeld with gratitude to Rabbi Biderman, Rebel, Gedale, Fenster, Michael Safdie. Paras HaChodesh Eli Stefansky refuah, shleima, and safe and speedy return of all Chayalim, together with Dr. Marty Dauber. Again, for shleima and safe and speedy return of our Chayalim, matching Rev Eli's donation to Zchut HaChayalim for the month. Paras HaShavua last day, for shleima, speedy recovery from a heart surgery, David ben Rivka, for shleima. Paras HaYoim, Glenn Roeder, the 4th Yahrzeit of my wonderful mother, Etel Bat Lipa vechava. Paras HaYoim, Mordechai Sapoznick, Lzaicher Nishmas, Zera Shimshon, Horav Shimshon Chaim ben R Nachman Michoel, Zera may the neshama have an aliyah. Is he coming on the trip? I know he's invited. He's like probably the biggest daily sponsor that we ever had. May the neshama have an aliyah, may be a mail for all those that learn his Sfarim daily sponsor, I said, not monthly. And the one who publishes his Sfarim, Rabbi Nachman Seltzer, and all of Klal Yisroel also is around the 4th year anniversary. Me joining MDY. It's around the 4th year anniversary of me joining MDY. Thank you, Rebbe Umayri, for everything. Paras HaYoim, Sruli Bernstein, Lili Nishmas, my father-in-law's Yahrzeit, Avram Lake Ben Meir Halevi. We went through this. Lake, Laka, what is it? I don't remember anymore. We'll say both. Avram Laka Ben Meir Halevi, Avram Lake Ben Meir Halevi. Paras HaYoim, Moshe Kraus, in the schus that my kids should have a great year in yeshiva and school. We could all relate to that, no? My 2 boys, one just started yeshiva Ktana, and one just started yeshiva Gedale. One is in 9th grade, and one is in 1st year base medrash. How do you say that in English? I don't know. Both. Huh? 1st year base medrash. In America also they say that? Oh, very nice. Okay. Parnas Hayoim, Anonymous from Lakewood. The famous Anonymous from Lakewood. Who unfortunately couldn't come with us on this trip. I'm going to have him special in mind. Special tefillas for him. In honor of Yossi Klein for putting in so much effort into MDY, Atzlacha with the Nasiya. Even though he can't come, he's honoring him and saying Yishkoyach. So, wow, beautiful. Abba Rennert, Lili Nishmas, Hagoyin Arav, Avram ben Rabbi Yitzchok, Isaac, Osban, Zatzal, Zchusi Yogan Aleinu, the Shiva was suddenly nifter. There's a video going around of him speaking to Rabbi Bornstein. Mom is like, oh, Rabbi is giving him Vartayra. He's healthy and everything. Walking around. A person doesn't know. All of a sudden, boom! Switches off and Shalom Yisrael. Got a chapa right. For Zchus for Rebelli and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many, that's the art of the month. Itmar. What is it? Like 12 lines from the bottom. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Wow. Itmar. Doing this long enough. Svino. Rav Omar. Kivin Shomoshach Kol Shehu Kana. Ushmul Omar Lekana Achimshach Es Kula. Here. we have Yoshi, and we have Eli. There's two machlokes how to do this. Well, I guess he didn't know that I was going to bring my sfina to share. So put this over here. I'm going to show you Yoshi. Rav says, you pull it a little bit. You saw that? You pull it a little bit. You can't even see. You can see where the string was, where the ropes were. You see, he even left the ropes there. Cool. Shmuel says, the length of the ship. So, here, you want to see it again? Here's the line. This is where the ship starts. Here, I don't know if you could see it. It's good? Yeah. There's a blue here. You can see the blue. Oh, now it's better. So Rav says you have to go from here all the way. Shmuel, sorry, Shmuel. So I have to do it again. Shmuel. Rav says a little bit. That's it. Doesn't matter, half a tefach. But basically the whole entire ship, every part of the ship moved. Shmuel says the entire length of the ship. Okay. Next. Who wins? Yoshi or me? Yoshi's prettier. So that means he won. Okay. So let's say Rav and Shmuel is a machlokes tonight. But before I start, I want to ask the Olam HaShayla to think about this a little bit. Interesting. Last night a guy comes over to me, guy from the Shir. He says that his father gave him a dira here in Ramat Bet Shemesh, free and clear, no mortgage, nothing. His other brothers are not religious. His father wanted to give him this dira, even though his father's still alive, the whole thing. And he asked me, because I'm in real estate, what should he do? This, that. So first thing, don't give your money to anybody. Just the best thing for you, probably just rent it and Shalom Yisrael. Don't believe anybody that says they're going to give you 15% returns, 20% returns. Don't trust anybody. Just be careful. Don't lose your money in one day. And then I told him, I said, you're not going to believe this. I just came from the Shir. I said, look, I wrote in my Gemara exactly what you just told me. That a father wanted to give his belongings to one of his sons because his sons went off the derech. I wrote it in my Gemara. Here, even showed him. I opened up my Gemara and the note. Mamish, the same exact story. So the question I have for the Olam, this is the question. He wrote, let's say his kid went off the derech. Now, it happens to be, I'll tell you the question, and I know some of you are going to scream. The right thing, basically. Your kid goes off the derech. And people owe him a lot of money. This guy owes $1 million, this guy owes him $2 million. So he takes all his shtori chayv, all his debt that are written in documents, and he gives it over. First he says to somebody, you could have these. He writes a document. You could have all this pile of chayv, this $10 million worth of debt that people owe me. He says about himself, he's going to Olam HaEmes, he's not going to see it, but I want you to enjoy it. If they ever pay back, here. He doesn't give it to him, he writes down on a star, you could have it. And then he says, wait a minute, maybe that didn't work. I wrote a star. So he goes and he takes the whole pile and he gives it to somebody else. Which one of those two people get the stars? Again, the first guy got a star saying that all the stars are his. The second guy got the actual stars, all the debt. He got it physically.
Second guy, because you use the stars to take the collect.
Well, what?
Only with that.
But he gave it to the first guy with the star. He wrote it down. It's going to be for the first guy. Huh?
No opinion.
What Kenyan is first?
They didn't have keys.
So that's the whole sugi we're going to learn. Does anybody remember the sugi? You remember, Shamshi? Huh? It has no value, but you could put it on a. You're right. The actual star has no value, but you could use it to collect debt. Somebody has to pay up the debt. Now I wrote in this star, I wrote a piece of document. All my debt is going to Rabbi Zera. Here. Do you get it? Or I took all my debt, the physical stars, and I gave it to him. What's your name again?
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Give it to Jonathan. Who gets it? Rabbi Zera or Jonathan? You know what the answer is? Neither of you. The kid gets it. His child that went off the derech. Besides, we learned in Gemara you shouldn't not give Yerusha to your kid that goes off the derech. It's against halacha not to give your off the derech kid. That's a different story. We don't call it off the derech. I got yelled at by the Rav in Oxnard, not yelled at. He said, we don't call it that. We say they struggle. Okay, good. You're right. Okay, I don't know. Call it whatever you want to call it.
Before he died, though.
Huh?
He gave it over while he's still alive.
Yeah, so.
It's not losing it.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
It's giving him a tanah.
Right. I hear. Good. It's a way to get out of it, but it's not l'chatchila, I don't think.
They're on their derech.
Huh? On their derech. They're on their derech. Yeah. He's a professional. This is what he does for a living. He's Lubavitch. They bring people in to Kirov. So the is OTD is better, maybe. It's not. All right. So Zok the Gemara. Let me get that note. Keitza b'Mesira. So Rabbi say today we're going to be learning about here these kinyanim. Hagba, Meshicha, Mesira. Hagba means to lift something, Meshicha means to pull something, Mesira means to give over. So, which one of these is the best one? It goes in order, like I did, Lzaicher. Hagba, Meshicha second, Mesira is the least effective. So let's say, what?
Don't you still have to do Hagba after you do?
No. Some things you can't do Hagba. What if I'm buying a horse, an elephant, a giraffe? How am I going to do Hagba? I can't lift it. Huh? Yeah, okay, but that's a different way. But Mesira is an effective way. So let's see here. It says Mefurish. Case of Mesira. I have a giant animal I can't lift up. So what do? A chaza betalfa. Here we have pictures for everything. Rabbi say, if you don't know what talfa is, here chaza betalfa. You hold on to her hoof. Bisa'ara, here, you do one of these. Bu'ukav shaleh, here, that. Bishlif shaleh, you hold on to the load. Biprumbia shebepia, you have something like this, or the bit here, you can see it, the piece that goes into the mouth. Bizuk shebetzavara, here we go, you hold on to the bell on her neck, kana. That's Mesira. You didn't pull it into, Meshicha means to pull it into your domain. Mesira is, I'm handing it over to you. Let's say you have a smaller animal, and you're doing Meshicha. You need to cause it to move. You don't have to pull it, you have to cause it to move. Or you did one of these, you hit it with a stick, and it ran. Kivin shakar yad v'regel kana. Since it lifted up, one hand, one front hand, v'regel, one back foot, kana. Here, this is important. Something like this. I don't like this picture so much because then the cow would tip over. I thought it would be more like this. One on the right, one on the left. Okay, doesn't matter. You get the idea. The idea is 101. Happens to be that there's something weird about the giraffe. I remember walking weird. It's like I think one side and then the other side. It's like a whole. It walks different than a horse. Very different. Two here, something. Okay. So says the Gemara. Until it moves its entire length. So the Rashbam says here, and you should write this down in your Gemara if you have a pencil, it doesn't mean Malay Kabasa. So let's say the animal, here, this cow is 8 feet long. It doesn't have to walk 8 feet. It just means it has to lift up all 4 of its limbs. So as long as it moves its front 2 feet and the back 2 legs, even if it walked only 2 feet, that's enough. It doesn't have to be 8 feet. So says the Gemara, Lema Rav Doma Katana Kama. Again, we had a machlokes. Rav says a little bit. Shmuel says you have to move the whole thing. So Malay Kamasa seems like the whole ship. Lema Rav Doma Katana Kama. Ushmuel Doma Revakah. Revakah says that the animal has to move. Malay Kamasa seems like Shmuel that the whole ship has to move the entire length of the ship. It could go both ways. We can't prove, we can't push it into one corner. Revakah said it has to move all four limbs, like an animal. Because if it just lifts up one hand, 1 foot, let's say this horse, let's take a look at this horse for a second. You see how its 2 feet are planted in that place? So what if one front foot and one back leg are lifted up? It didn't move. It's not moving. So, therefore, you need all 4 limbs to move, and then it actually moved. Avol svina, but a ship, kivin the nada, here, this ship right over here, if it moves 1 inch forward, the entire ship moved 1 inch forward. Another coolant, that's enough. So you don't need like kamasa, maybe. And you could say the reverse for Tanakama says by a living animal, the kivin the miakriyat v'regel, as long as it lifts up the front and the back 2 out of 4. What do you think this horse is doing? Right here in this picture. What is the horse doing? The horse is about to move. It's in a move. Right now, you're right, it might be stuck to the ground. But as it does this, what's happening in 2 seconds from now? This. It's going to be in a movement. But a ship, if it moved 5 inches and then stopped, so it stopped. It doesn't mean that's going to continue to move. It's for the purpose of continuing to move. But a ship, 1 tefach is not enough. So if you pull it the right amount, the whole amount, then you made a kinyan. Anything less than that is not a kinyan. Says the Gemara, Leima Kahana. Perhaps, as we're going to see soon, this machlokes again, the machlokes of Rav and Shmuel. Here, we'll show Yoshi. Why not? Rav and Shmuel. Does it have to be the entire length of the ship? Or just a little bit, perhaps the machlokes tanoim. So before we see the Gemara's question, we're going to go through a little bit of interesting stuff here. The Sanya. Svino niknes b'meshicha. Svina niknes b'meshicha. A ship is purchased with a meshicha, with pulling it. So let's pay attention to these words over here. The Tanakam is talking about one object, one thing only. What is he talking about? A ship. A ship is b'meshicha. Comes Rabbi Nachman says, wait a minute, a ship b'meshicha. V'oisiyos. What's oisiyos? Word, letters, niknois b'meshicho b'shtar. So, one thing at a time. First of all, there's a concept in Shas called oisiyos niknois b'mesira. Okay, what does that mean? What does oisiyos niknois b'mesira? Oisiyos niknois b'mesira means that letters, you could acquire them by pulling them. Letters meaning a shtar, a debt. If I owe you money, you take that shtar and you could give it to your friend, and then it becomes his. But what's the next word? Ubishtar. Look at the top word on Ayin Vav. Super important to pay attention here. Because when you read it without Rishbam, you're going to read it like this. Oisais niknas b'meshicha ubishtar. You could acquire a shtar of debt either with Mesira, I give it to you, or with a shtar. So if you go back to the question I asked the Olam here, and nobody got it right, I asked you, what if I sell you, a kid goes off the derech, I give all my shtaris to Rabbi Zera by writing it down. I wrote down here on a piece of document, I, Eli Stefansky, giving all my debt to Rabbi Zera. And then I gave the whole pile, instead of giving to Rabbi Zera, I gave it to Yonatan. Yonatan. So I asked you which one wins, and what's the answer? Neither of you. Why? Because you need both. You need to give it physically, Mesira, and write a document saying that you did it. It's a shtar for a shtar. I have to write in a shtar that I gave you all my shtars, my shtaros. Yeah? So let's see in the chart how it goes. Very, very simple. Rabbi Nachman says that if I could give you, I could sell you my shtar, I could give you my shtar, ois are nikna b'mesira. The Gemara actually uses the word meshicha. The Rashbam says it's not accurate. It means mesira. I'm giving you over my shtar. Ois niknas b'mesira, and im shtar mecher, he writes on the bottom, Yoshi. It's two, you have to do two, what's the word? Actions? Kinyanim, two kinyanim. One is the mesira, and one is the ksiva. So now if we look at it side by side, very, very simple, right? Tanakama said, how do you purchase a boat? With Mashiach, you got to pull it. Rabbi Nachman says, how do you purchase a boat? You have to pull it. And how do you purchase a shtar from somebody? You have to get it from him, and you have to write a shtar on it. So you know what the Gemara is going to ask? Who asked Rabbi Nachman anything about a shtar? Tanakama says, how do you purchase a boat? You pull it. So Rabbi Nachman should have either argued or agreed. Why is he all of a sudden sticking in? And you know, words, letters, you should, it reminds you of the Vilna Gaon. Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to be by the Vilna Gaon soon. He said he had tremendous hakaras hatov to his first grade Rebbe or whatever, the Rebbe that taught him Amud Beis. He said, at least he knows that Rebbe didn't make any mistakes. It's the only Rebbe that, that's what he said. So says the Gemara, who in the world mentioned anything about letters and shtaris that Rabbi Nachman decided to give his opinion on it? Says the Gemara, you're right. In fact, we have to add some words here. This is what it says. So it goes like this. Here, take a look at the chart. Tanakh was talking about two things: a ship and a shtar, and that's what Rabbi Nachman came to add. Svino Nignan is b'Mashicha, Vaisi is b'Masira. We have to add that the Tanakh actually was talking about shtaris, oisiyos. And that, how do you acquire a shtar? With a Masira, by giving it over. Svina v'oisiyos Nignan is b'Mashicha, u'b'shtar. That you need both. You need a Mashicha and a shtar for the, I guess, both. As the Gemara, shtar l'svina lamali. Why do you need a document for a boat? A boat is metaltalin. When I buy a bike, I need a shtar? No, I go to the store and I give him money and I do mashicha. It becomes mine. I don't need a shtar that the bike is mine. I don't need a shtar that today, obviously, you know, $3 million vessel. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of documentation, like a car. Car also. It's metaltalin. You don't need a shtar, but that's how it is. Says Gemara, you're right. Here, look at this. This shtar should disappear. Okay. The loikeach gets the shtar chayiv, and the seller writes up a shtar mecher. Huh? What just happened? I don't know what just happened. Okay. There's a whole maisa here. The Gemara thought, here, the Gemara says that there's a shtar and a mashicha, and the Gemara says, no, we get rid of the shtar. It's only mashicha, okay? You're right. Again, the Gemara asks on the boat part. Why does Rabbi Nachman say that when you sell a boat, you have to do two things, mashicha, which is masira, and shtar? The Gemara says, you're right. Forget that. The only thing that you need, mashicha and shtar, is an actual shtar. When I sell my debt or give my debt to somebody, I need two things, a masira and a shtar. But when I sell a boat, all you need is a mashicha. Now take a look at something here. Very interesting, and this is what the Gemara is going to ask now. When it comes to a boat, what's the difference between the Tanakama and Rabbi Nachman? Same exact thing. So what are they arguing about? Why does Rabbi Nachman even talk about it? What did he say? Says the Gemara. Rabbi Nachman Oimer Sfina b'Shicha v'Oisis b'Shtar. As the Gemara, Sfina b'Shicha Hainu Tanakama. What is the difference between Tanakama and Rabbi Nachman? They're exactly the same. Ella, you know what the difference is? Says the Gemara. Finally, we got there. This is the difference. The difference is between Rav and Shmuel. In the Tanakama, in Rabbi Nachman, they both say the same thing. They both say, how do you acquire a ship? You acquire it with Mashicha. But how much Mashicha? A half a tefach? Or 300 foot yad, you have to pull it 300 feet. Yeah? Beautiful. Geschmack. El the Rabbi Shmuel Gibinayu. The Baal Tanya says, Mordechai thing. So we're talking about Elul. I want to bring back the trauma. Tshuva. But he says that a lot of people think that when you do tshuva, you have to do complete tshuva and you have to take all your averes. It's not true. Because people give up. They have yush. They're like, I'm such a balavera. I have to do tshuva and everything. No. You have to take a small piece. A little piece. Let's say a person talks during davening. I don't know, he has a problem, he talks during davening. Because Mamish should say, I'm going to be at the Taisis Yantiv's Kever Bezer Hashem tomorrow, and that's his Yahrzeit. And his big thing is not to talk in shul. Let the person talks in shul. So you don't have to do tshuva. You should do tshuva, not to talk in shul. But you can't, okay? We're human beings. We like to talk in shul. So you say, okay, but I'm not going to talk during Shemona Esrei. Okay, I'm going to stop. During Gedusha, I was in a shul in America, and two people talking during Gedusha. So you say, you know what? So a guy on such a drag of talking says, people use their phone the entire time, especially in America. They're constantly on their phone, emailing in the middle of Sukkot the Zimra. It's Meshuggah, yeah? So at least maybe 10 minutes out of the davening, don't do it. That's what he says. 5 minutes. Don't exaggerate. Don't go crazy. Don't kill yourself. Chas v'shalom. You have to get back to the people. It's important. The WhatsApps and the emails, you have to do that, but not the whole entire 5 minutes out of the davening. That's what he says. Mordechai. I think it's Mordechai. Hold on, because you think about it. What he's saying is that when it's his law, not me. It has a connect here because he says that when you move 5 minutes, you're moving everything. You're actually doing tshuva on the whole thing. You're telling Hashem, I really want to do tshuva on everything. I just can't. I'm about taiva. Okay. So here I'm showing you that I'm making an effort. 5 minutes I'm not going to talk. 5 minutes I'm not going to do my emails. So you're moving everything. That's important for tshuva. Don't think to yourself that you have to do tshuva on 100%. Mordechai. Yeah, what are you saying?
5 minutes of running. Same thing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Can't do the whole time. Okay. 8 minutes.
It's true. I say that all the time. It's a gewaldige eitzah. I'll say it again. A lot of times you come home, it's 3 a.m, you just came back from a chasana, you're dead tired, you just drove through the rain, and you're not in the mood to learn. It's impossible not to learn. So the eitzah is to sit down to learn for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of the daf. But at least you did 3 minutes. A lot of times, so once you open it up, you go a little bit weiter. Same thing with working out. People you can't work out today. Not a big workout, but I heard that's how it is. So you do 2 push-ups. You do 2. At least you didn't break. You're consistent. You do it. Tomorrow, Beis Hashem, you go back on. Okay. Anyway, Zog the Gemara. So perhaps this is the machlokes. So all the way in the bottom of Amud Beis, we said Lema kehanet hanoi, 2 lines from the bottom. Perhaps this is mamish the machlokes. Says the Gemara, no. Nice try. Lord, the Kulei Alma, you can Rabbi Shmuel, we could either hold like Rabbi, we could hold like Shmuel. Or Besfina Kulei Alma, there's no machlokes when it comes to a ship. Or Besfina Kulei Alma, keep pligi ba'isiyos. There's only one machlokes when it comes to shtar. Rabbi Nachman and Tanakama. Forget the sfina. There's no machlokes in a sfina. Everybody either holds, they have to pull the whole sfina, or you have to pull 1 inch. No machlokes over there. But where is machlokes? Only in a shtar, chayv, and det. In oisiyos. Keep it. So now, Rabbi said, listen, if you didn't do Daf Yomi until now, When somebody came over to me, Oisius nickness Mesira. Oh, what does it mean? Now you know. Oisius means shtar chayv, debt. You believe Oisius? When it comes to a ship, I admit to you. But you have to admit to me that you need not only give it over to the guy, you also have to write a document to prove it. At the end of the day, it's machlokes tanoi. The sanya. That the Tanakama says, how do you acquire a shtar chayv by the owner of the guy that's owed the money? He gives you the shtar, but you don't need to write a shtar on top of the shtar. You don't have to write a document that you did it. All you need is Mesira, Divrei Rebbe. And here you see Mefurish, this whole idea that I said before that you have to write in your Gemara. In other words, you need two things. Again, that question I asked you about the guy that went off the derech and the father wanted to give all his debt to somebody else. You got to do two things. You got to write a documentation that you gave the document, and you have to give it to him physically. Why? Because if I don't do that, maybe I'm just selling you paper. That's what Rabbi Zera was saying before. In those days, paper was expensive. Maybe I need a piece of paper to cover my bottle. I don't know, something funny. The Sanya, Sfina Niklas B'Mitzira, Divrei Rebbe. Rebbe says that a ship is acquired just with Mesira without a shtar. Huh? I skip? Oh, you're right. No, I did not say that. Ask the Gemara. We have a big question. You just told me that it goes like Rebbe. But the problem is that according to Rebbe, you could acquire a ship b'mesira, which means giving over the reign of the ship without doing what? Meshicha. Until now, we're learning that you have to do Meshicha. According to Rebbe, you could do Mesira. Rebbe says you can do Mesira. According to Chacham, you need to do Mamish Meshicha. Or, what's Meshicha, Rabbi said? Meshicha means to pull the ship into your domain, and the other way to do it, to pull it into your domain, is by actually renting the domain. The turning of the daf is sponsored by Citron Films and the 6 hostages that were killed last week: Hirsch and Uri, Eden, Almog, Alexander, Carmel. What? Lili Nishmas, those 6 hostages. Oh, so the Gemara says we have a problem. Why? Because you say that goes according to Rebbe, but according to Rebbe, you don't have to do Meshicha. All you need to do is Mesira. So if we go back to this chart over here, what's a better kinyan? Meshicha is stronger and better. Mesira is the least. You're not even pulling it into your domain. You're just giving it over. But according to Rebbe, all you have to do is just give it over. And we said you have to do Meshicha. So the Gemara says, no, Leikasha, Kam, Rishus Harabim. The second Bryce is talking about a Rishus Harabim. In Rishus Harabim, Meshicha doesn't work. Because what's Meshicha again? Pulling it into your domain. Guess what? You don't own anything here. Here. This is Rishus Harabim. You see what he did here? I thought he was going to do something else. Okay. And that's the next one. Kan besimta. Where do you need Meshicha? When it's a simta. Simta is where the Rishus Harabim moves over a little bit. It's still part of Rishus Harabim, and nobody ever goes there. Hardly any time. When there's a lot of traffic, people go there. So in Meila, we allow you to do a kinyan Meshicha in a simta. Why? Because typically speaking, in Rishus Harabim, I cannot do Meshicha. Why? Because Meshicha means I'm bringing it to my Rishus. It's not Rishus. It's the public domain. But a simta, although it's public domain, but it's not really used as public domain, so we allow you to do something called Mesira. So we don't have a contradiction in Rebbe. When Rebbe says that there's Mesira, it means in a simta. When Rebbe says Meshicha, he's talking about in Rishus Harabim. We might give him the Bava Basra, huh? Right, sorry. Who said that? Ata Makshiv? Mesira is Rishus Harabim, Simta is Meshicha. Says Gemara, L'mayu Kimta, La Basraisa. Oh, so Stam Derech Agav, there's a Machlokes Rishonim, very interesting Machlokes Rishonim. But according to Rashbam, comes out that if you could do Meshicha, you're not allowed to do Mesira. You cannot do Mesira, it gets erased. If you could do Agbah, you cannot do Meshicha. That's his Shita. It's not like we have 3 kinyonim available, you can pick whatever you want. Whatever is available, the best one that's available, that's the one you have to do. So in Rosh Hashanah, where you cannot do Meshicha, so then you're left with Mesira. Simta, that you could do Meshicha, you cannot do Mesira because you could do Meshicha. We have a big problem. You're telling me you're talking about Rosh Hashanah? This boat, you can't be kohen until you do Meshicha. As the Gemara, we just said, how can you do Meshicha in Rosh Hashanah? Who are you renting that place from? It's not yours to do a kinyan in it. Meshicha means to bring it to yourself. Meshicha doesn't even work in Rosh Hashanah. How do I know? Because Abai and Rava both said Mesira works in Rosh Hashanah. This rabbi is going to be L'Kula Alma. That what? See if he did it. He's working on it. So the Hebrew Shir is going to get it. According to everybody in Rosh Hashanah, Mesira works, not Meshicha. Besimto bechotzer shishal shneim. When it's a simta is what? Part of the Rosh Hashanah that goes off a little bit, that usually people don't go there. Everybody agrees. Sorry, Meshicha koina. Meshicha works in a simta, that's according to everybody. For the few Israelis that were here, this I'm going to do for Yitz. He hasn't seen this. This is what Akbar looks like. Boys, I stand up. Boys, I stand up for the Rashida. Oh, I never saw this one. This is the long version. Whoa.
This is how you do a Kinyan Hagbar, if anybody wants to know. What? Like this. This video goes over. All right, like to get young in shots.
Okay, so if you can do this Hagbar, you cannot do Mashiach. What's going on here?
Has anybody ever seen a goat?
Okay.
Only.
Sorry. Not that all Israelis saw it. No. We're almost done. We don't have to get to the bottom today. V'hagbah, and Hagbah is the number 1. So if we go back to this chart, what's the number 1 kinyan? Hagbah koina b'chol makah. Hagbah koina b'chol makah. Says Gemara. So what's the question? How does Mashiach work in Rosh Hashanah? We just explained that Mashiach does not work in Rosh Hashanah. What works in Rosh Hashanah, Rabbi Yisai? Mesira and Agbah. If you lift up the animal, if it's a small animal, you have to do Agbah. According to Rashbam, then Mesira wouldn't work if you could lift it up. You're right. What does it mean to do Mashiach? What did it mean by renting the place? If you do one of these, yeah, you have Rosh Hashanah and you schlep it into the simta, then you're good. That's what it means, Mashiach. To pull into the simta, a little bit of doichak, but that's what the Gemara has to say. And the second halacha is that if it's owned if the place is owned by the owner, then you have to rent the place from him in order to be kited. Otherwise, there's no Mashiach. Can't do Mashiach into somebody else's property. Says the Gemara, but it comes out. What do we say? We said in the second price that the ship, that according to Chachamim, Mesira doesn't work, right? In Rosh Hashanah. Abai and Rava both say that Mesira does work in Rosh Hashanah. Ask the Gemara, how's it possible that Abai and Rava are going to say like the Yachid, not like the Rabbim? Or Ravashi, if the Moicher said to the buyer, I want you to go make a kinyan, he didn't specify what kinyan. Hachinami, then Mesira would be an effective kinyan, because he didn't say what. Very interesting. Mefurish Meshicha, I want you to do Meshicha. But he didn't say I want you to do Meshicha. He said do Meshicha. So the question is, was he serious and only Meshicha? Or he's telling him, go take my thing. I let you take my thing. In other words, be kind in any way you want. You can do Mesira, you can do Meshicha. Mar Savak Kpeda. He holds Dafka. When he said Meshicha, he meant Dafka Meshicha. Mar Savak Mar Makamulai. He was only trying to tell him to go make a kinyan. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.